Throughout the last few days, we've learned a lot about the restrictions and the limitations of the kidney diet and the physiology and the pathophysiology about how certain foods affect people with kidney disease. One of the things that I think is often missed is that teaching somebody to manage their kidney disease with food is very empowering. I often look at kidney disease as it's sometimes relentless for people, and it sometimes feels like it can be out of their control. But people often want to have some control, and by teaching them what foods to eat and giving them tips and tricks and giving them a way to take some control of their kidney disease through their food, you can really empower your patients. So we focus a lot on the restrictions and the limitations, but I think if we kind of turn it around, we can also focus on the empowerment that you all are giving your patients by teaching them the right foods to eat. We're going to make a little Mediterranean chopped salad here today, and I really like this recipe for a lot of reasons. First, because it's customizable, meaning that we can change up the ingredients to fit to any level, really, of chronic kidney disease or any specific restrictions that somebody has. The other is that this recipe really highlights a lot of the tips and tricks that are needed for creating flavor without a lot of salt or added fat or processed foods. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got some chickpeas here. And I know Dr. Bustamante has been talking about soaking your beans, so I've soaked my chickpeas based on her recommendations, and that allows us to do a couple of things. The chickpeas will leach a little of their extra potassium and phosphorus into the water, but there's a nice little trick about soaking chickpeas, and chickpeas have this little skin on them, and when you soak them, you can kind of run your hands through the water, and all these little skins will pop up to the top, and you can remove them. Sometimes they're a little bit more difficult to digest, so if somebody has difficulty digesting beans, this is helpful. The other thing is if when you remove those skins and you cook the chickpeas like we're going to do, you get a better final result. We take these chickpeas and then we lay them on a little baking pan with some parchment paper and a little bit of olive oil. You mix it around, and then you bake them for about 45 minutes to an hour. And what you get are these little tiny crunchy chickpeas. I don't know if you can hear the crunch, but they're very crunchy. That's going to add a really nice texture to our final salad. Once you take them out of the oven, I dumped some cumin on there. So we add about a teaspoon of cumin, which is a great spice that you can add without adding salt. So if you don't like cumin, really you can do anything you want. Some people like to just snack on chickpeas with some Italian seasoning or a little bit of herbs or a little bit of cayenne pepper and paprika. It's a really nice way to flavor things and get a healthy snack. So we're going to take these chickpeas, we're going to set them to the side, and we're going to get the rest of our vegetables going. Okay, so this recipe typically calls for cucumber, red onion, and tomato. But since we're focusing on low potassium recipes, I've substituted a red pepper. And one of the keys with any kind of substitution for food is you want to find something that's the same color, if you can. And even if you can find that same texture, that's good too. Now, the green pepper isn't quite the same as the texture as the tomatoes, but it's a really nice substitution here. And all these are low potassium vegetables. Okay, so if you've never cut a red pepper, I thought I'd take a second and show you a quick trick to do that. So you cut off both ends, set them to the side, make a little slit in the top of the red pepper, open it up, go around the edge here, and kind of get rid of, this doesn't have much of an inside there, but you get rid of the inside. And you make little strips. I have to stand up, it's hard to chop while I'm sitting. All right. turn it, and then you've got chopped red pepper. Very easy. You need a sharp knife for sure. Okay, so we're gonna move that to the side. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna chop some cucumber. So one of the things that's important about this salad is having everything kind of chopped about the same size. Makes a nice bite that's a good mouthful. It's one of the keys to cooking. You wanna either have things kind of all the same size with the chopped salad, or if you're doing a different dish, you want to vary the size of things. So when you put it in your mouth, it kind of hits different parts at the same time. So it's something that people don't often think about when they're creating a dish. I'm using these little mini cucumbers because they're very easy to cut and because I don't have to peel them. Cucumbers, again, are a low potassium food. Even the low potassium or the low phosphorus foods can become high if you eat too many of them. So portion control and portion size is very important. So we're just going to chop up these cucumbers. And we're going to put this all in our bowl here with our red pepper. Lots of colors in a dish is very important. So the red and the green look nice already. We're going to add some purple red onion. It's taken me a long time to really learn to cut an onion safely, but you need a sharp knife. So you make some little slits along the side of the onion here. Some cuts lengthwise. And then it kind of will come out in nice little even pieces. Okay, so onion is another great thing to add to dishes when you're not using a lot of salt, because onion will create a lot of flavor as well. So onion, garlic, shallots, ginger, those are called aromatics, and they add a lot of flavor to a dish. So creating flavor without salt. Okay, so we've got our beautiful little colors here. I'm gonna give them a little stir, and we are going to make our dressing for this Mediterranean salad. And if you have questions along the line, just send them in and I'll try to answer them later. So this dressing is simple, but it's so flavorful. I'm gonna take a lemon. So dressings that you buy at the store are flavored with salt, almost always. And if they don't have a lot of salt in them, they taste terrible. So if you learn to make your dressings at home, that will really kind of add a nice little healthy part of your diet, and also may encourage you to eat more salad. So we've got the juice of a lemon. So lemons, limes, oranges, citrus are great ways to create flavor. We've got red wine vinegar. My cabinet is full of all different types of vinegars. So about a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. And we have a secret ingredient. This is called sumac. So if you've never tried sumac before, it's a spice that's typically used in Middle Eastern dishes. And it's actually a ground berry. And it's almost like lemon. It's very tangy. And if you don't have sumac, you can just use lemon zest. So a zest of a lemon will work well, but the sumac makes it kind of extra special. If you serve this to people, they'll invariably say, "Oh, what's that flavor that you got in there?" And it's the sumac, and it'll make you look like a pretty fancy cook if you can learn to use some sumac. Okay, so just give that a little whisk, and then drizzle some olive oil on top. So we've got our dressing, we've got our veggies, and we've got some fresh parsley. And this is just chopped fresh Italian parsley, and we're going to put that in our salad here. This is kind of inspired by a lot of the Middle Eastern salads that I've cooked and eaten in the past. Lots of beautiful colors, lots of textures, lots of freshness. So we've got fresh herbs. We're going to put our chickpeas on top. Then we're going to run some of this dressing through there. Give it a nice little stir. And you really don't need any salt with this dressing, with this dish, because the sumac and the lemon and the fresh herbs and the cumin just kind of really give you a delicious spice. So customizable, very easy to make. Now, I added one little thing to this dish at the last minute, and if you've ever watched me do a cooking demo, you know that I can't do it without adding some of this pearl couscous, because it's one of my favorite foods to cook. So if you've ever cooked with pearl couscous, this is a really neat grain. It is much bigger than kind of the regular couscous. And there are some great things you can do with it to create flavor. So if you take this couscous and you put it in a hot pan before you cook it, you can toast the couscous. And I don't know if you can see that in there, but it's a little more brown. We've toasted it. It gives it a more nutty flavor, a deeper flavor that'll help you get a better finished product at the end. And all these little things kind of add up to a dish that tastes really good. So couscous is cooked by toasting it, and then you add some no sodium vegetable stock and let it boil with a cover on it for about 8 minutes. And so we've got the finished couscous here. And so I wanted to just kind of make this more of a full dish rather than just a side salad. Although oftentimes I'll just eat the salad kind of as is, like this. But if we add the couscous on top and stir it, you know, this is something that you can bring, you could bring to a picnic if there's ever such thing as group eating again. You can have it for lunch. You can make it in the evenings and then have it for a couple days. Serve it on the side of a small portion of protein if you're looking for a low protein diet. It's really delicious. It doesn't need a lot of salt. It's got fresh herbs, lots of good spices, and it's really one of my favorite things to make, and it's very easy. For more health information, make sure you stop by my website, thecookingdoc.co. I've got a blog. Sign up for my email list, weekly tips and recipes directly to your inbox. We'll see you next time.